Hi everyone, it's Megan Marks, and today I want to ask you a question. Now, have you noticed in every public restroom there is a little sign in the corner of the mirror that says employees must wash their hands before returning to work? I don't know about you, but I see those little signs and I think, who doesn't wash their hands after they use the bathroom? Especially in a public bathroom where the germs are so rich and varied. And the next thing I think to myself is, why is it only mandatory for employees to wash their hands? Everyone can benefit from proper hand washing. Now, there are a few reasons why you should wash your hands. The first one, primarily, is that washing your hands removes germs. When I say germs, I mean viruses and bacteria, those little bugs that can get inside of a body and make a body really sick. Think of the last cold you had. It was probably about 2 weeks long and it was probably really miserable. And according to the CDC, you probably could have avoided that cold altogether if you had washed your hands, and anybody that was sick with that cold before you washed their hands properly. Washing your hands removes parasites. Parasites like protozoa, which are little single-celled organisms that can't live on their own outside of a body, but they love to be inside of a body. They kind of kick back and freeload off of the other body, feeding them nutrients and don't have to do anything for themselves, and that's what makes them parasites. Now, one of the primary ways that a parasite can be passed is from contaminated person's fecal matter going out into the world through improper hand washing technique after they use the restroom. Now, proper hand washing will protect others as well as yourself. Encouraging proper hand washing, especially for healthcare personnel and food service workers, will cut down on the amount of germs that come into contact and are spread from person to person. Now, that's where the little sign in the restroom comes in. That little sign is because you would want the person making your salad that you're going to eat raw, especially, to wash their hands after they use the restroom, just because they could possibly have fecal matter on them that may contain protozoa or viruses or bacteria that could make the person who's going to eat their salad sick. That's why the little sign's there. That's why it's mandatory. They're there so that the people that are preparing your food don't make you sick. It's a responsibility of the person preparing your food. So when should you do it? Now, besides when the sign tells you to, you should wash your hands before and after you touch your face. Before, because your hands were out in the world touching gross things like shopping carts and phones and doorknobs and things like that other people, lots and lots of other people with germs have touched. Now, not everyone washes their hands the way they're supposed to, so there will be germs all over those surfaces, and you want to make sure that you don't put those germs on your hands and then your hands into your face, where the germs could be transported into your body and make you sick. After, because you also have germs and you don't want to put your germs all over those surfaces for other people to pick up and catch your germs. Before you eat, pretty much for the same reason as before you touch your face. Public surfaces like those shopping carts that I told you about will have all those germs on it, and then you're going to come and eat your hamburger and your french fries, and those germs are going to be transported from your hands onto your food and then get into your mouth and into your body that way. So that's why you wash your hands before you eat. After you touch something gross. Now, I'm going to assume somewhere in the world today, somebody probably blew their nose. They probably used a tissue, but a tissue is not a germ-proof barrier. Through the tissue, their germs got on their hands, and then their hands, if they didn't wash them, went out and touched the world. Those telephones and shopping cart handles and doorknobs, all those things that someone else could maybe touch. Now, those germs from that person's nose might not have been contaminated with illness that was making them sick. Maybe they have allergies. The pollen is crazy. It's springtime. But there might be germs that were in their body that might make somebody else very sick. That's why you should wash your hands after you touch something gross. And the kidshealth.org website has all kinds of other examples of other things that are gross that you might not think are gross, like petting your dog. Check it out. It's really informative. There's 2 ways to wash hands, and the World Health Organization, WHO for short, recommends using traditional soap and water technique anytime. It's always appropriate to use soap and water. There is also antiseptic hand gel, which is appropriate as long as your hands are not visibly soiled. So right now, my hands are not visibly soiled. I could use the antiseptic hand gel. But let's talk first about the soap and water technique. Now, this is what you're thinking of when you're in that public restroom. You turn the faucet on, lather your hands for 20 seconds or so. It's about how long it takes to sing the ABC song. Lather them really well, all surfaces. Then rinse thoroughly, because if you don't rinse thoroughly, there was really no point in doing it anyway. Dry your hands with a single-use towel. I know that that's not exactly the best for the environment. However, that is the best way to keep germs from being passed. Use that same single-use towel to turn off the faucets. Then throw that towel away in the proper waste receptacle. That's it. You're done. It probably just took me longer to explain than it would to actually do so. The second method is with the antiseptic hand gel, and that's really easy. You just pump a little dollop in your hand, about the size of a nickel or a dime, and you rub all the surfaces of your hands until it's gone. Nice and dry and gone. Takes about 20 seconds. Funny how that 20 seconds keeps coming back. Now, washing hands does mean something differently if you're a food service worker or a healthcare worker. There are a lot more guidelines designed to protect the worker and their customers or patients from those germs, and they actually are required to wash their hands a little bit more frequently. But if you stick with the basics, before or after you touch your face, before you eat, and after you touch something gross, that's probably good enough for the average person. So now that you've learned a little bit more about hand washing today and what you're actually doing when you're washing your hands to protect yourself and others, I hope you remember that that's why the little sign is there in the corner of the mirror. And then if you hear a little kid singing the ABC song while they're washing their hands, just smile and remember that they're learning to protect themselves and others. Thanks everyone for listening.